Hi friends, welcome to Stay Stitching. My name is Carla and I am glad you are here. I made a vow in January of 2019 that I was going to get rid of 12 machines this year. Started out great in January. Took one of my portable 60s models, great machine, worked fantastic, to the thrift store, dropped it off there, so I did get rid of a machine. Then in February, I bought a machine. That's not what I was supposed to be doing, but it was irresistible. And then also in February, I gave a machine to my niece, Carly, who you've seen in my videos. And you've also seen the machine that I bought. It's that cute little 60s flower travel machine. I don't even remember, a Pennies. It was a J.C. Penney's. And so I'm kind of, well, where I am right now on June 28th is that I still have 11 machines to get rid of. This is hard, but it's not impossible. I want to get my herd down to about 12 machines or fewer that I can't part with. And so I know I have to get rid of somebody. And so it isn't easy, but it's going to happen. And the next machine that I'm going to get rid of is this Singer 127-3. She is, oh, I forgot my field notes book. I think she's a 1927. I don't know. When 1910. Troy's got my book. 1910. She was born on March 16th of 1910. Her serial number is G2902515. By the way, you can find the manufacture date of any of your Singer machines very easily online. Just put it in Singer serial numbers, and there's two different sources that you can use for that. And so you can see what their manufacture date was. Now, I started to make this video a few days ago, and I had gotten a little ways into it, and I was going to show you how to wind a bobbin. But when I hit the presser foot, it just whizzed like that. Well, that was confusing to me because I've made two pairs of pants and 3 tops on this machine. And so I know she sews, and I know she sews beautifully. And that was like blowing my mind. And so I got, you know, and the camera was going, Troy was out of town, and I was all like, what's the matter with this machine? And it took me a minute to realize, you know, like I was messing with the clutch. I'm like, why isn't the needle bar going up and down? Is the clutch engaged? Is the clutch not engaged? I was confused. Well, I realized that the belt had fallen off, broken and fallen off. Now, I don't think Troy and I replaced the belt on this machine when we got it. Otherwise, it would not have broken so quickly. They generally last, you know, a while. But she's been on display in my living room for a couple of years where she's exposed to sunlight daily. And so I just think that the belt went bad. And so a lot of the times I will go on sewing machine parts online or Central Michigan Sewing Supply and buy vintage, buy the exact right belt for my vintage machines, because there are different belts for these machines. Now, I lost my train of thought. Because this was a round one, and I knew I could get the replacement belt at Joann, I thought I would chance it and see if this was the right belt for this machine. I remember what I wanted to point out. I love all vintage machines. I do not have a brand preference. I like all of them. However, if you're interested in vintage machines and you start out with Singers, you need to know that you can buy every single part you need for every single Singer machine, even the ones that are 100 years old. You can buy those parts right now today online. Today. And so if you buy an off-brand machine, which I have many and I love them, you may or may not be able to find replacement parts for it. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're a beginner at finding vintage machines. So this we bought at Joann's today. It's $3.99. It comes with the belt and the bobbin tire. This bobbin tire is not toast, but it's also not very juicy. See that? That's not a juicy bobbin tire. It's gonna break and fall off. Does it work? Yes. If I didn't have a new one sitting right here, would I have taken this off? No. I would have used this for a week, a month, or a year, however much longer it lasted. But since, I've got them right here and I don't want to try to keep track of this bobbin tire, and didn't we buy like a ton of them?
Yeah, we got like 50 of them.
Yeah, we've got like 50 bobbin tires anyway, so I'm going to just go ahead and use this one right now. And did you see how easy it was to get that bobbin tire off of there? Don't tell anyone you saw me using my Ginger thread nibs on Scotch tape. All right. So I'm just going to finagle this on here, maybe. Troy might have to do it. Okay, I got it. It's coming. There's probably an easier way to do this. I am not an expert. I'm just trying to wrangle it on there. Oh, thank you. What'd you do?
I just pushed it there and let it get around.
So Troy pushed from this side, which just flipped it on there. Now, I've never replaced the belt on a machine. Troy has always done that for me. Just not that I'm incapable of it, just that he's always done it. And so first thing I want to do is I want to compare my old belt with the new belt. Are they similar in size? They may not be identical because the old one will have stretched over time, but are they similar? Now you can see here that these two belts are virtually identical. The old one is a hair bigger. I'm assuming that this is the identical belt that we need for this machine. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to put it on here, but I know where it goes. And I think it's on. Okay, so you saw how hard that was. If you love vintage machines and you want to get into them, but you're afraid you can't do the stuff, you just saw me do it. And don't be afraid of them. This is pig metal. This is iron. You really can't mess this baby up. This machine has lived 89 years. She was born in 1910. Do you think she can handle a little bit of...
109 years.
Oh, Troy's correcting my math. That's 109 years. Wow. She's 109 years old. I think she looks pretty good for her age, doesn't she? Speaking of which, she has the Sphynx decals. Now, these decals are not in awesome shape, but you can still see them. She's still a beautiful girl. I have no problem with the condition of this machine. I buy my machines to sew with, and this gal performs. I have sewn with her, like I said. And so some people want really perfect machines, and that's totally fine. Collect perfection all you want if that's what you're into. But I like girls that I can sew with. So one of the most fun things about the 127 is the way the bobbin is wound. And let me see if I can show you that.
It's centered.
Okay, you start up here with the thread, and then you go over to this loop, and then down, there's a thread thing here. And then I'll show you, this should not be wrapped around here. This is from my earlier attempt. By the way, you're not supposed to wrap on top of old bobbins, but I'm not going to worry about trying to get this undone. So through that loop, and then you push this in, this little knob pulls the cup open, then you drop the thread right in that little cup, get her all situated. You make sure that the bar here, or whatever this thing is called, this lever, it has a name, a correct name. And you can get all Singer, here's another reason why I kind of encourage collecting Singers at the beginning. You can get manuals for every single Singer ever made on the Singer website. So that's www.singer.com. And then you go over to support, and it drops down, and you click manuals, and then you get a new page, and you just put in your machine model number, 127-3, and up pops a photocopy or a scan of the original manual for this machine. Okay, so let's see if I have everything in order to get her to wind. You got to push this up against the flywheel here. Okay, so I don't have her clutch disengaged. Just like on most machines, to disengage the clutch, you hold the flywheel straight and pull the clutch towards you until it is loose. Okay, now if she's properly adjusted, her needle bar should not go up and down when I press on the presser foot. Sometimes they do, and I don't have the expertise to quite get them done. Adjusted. Troy can do it. You have to take all this off, which you can do, and which there are directions to do. It is not the end of the world to do. It's not something that you have to hire a mechanic to do. So let's see how she's going. Okay, she's perfect. See, there is no, the needle bar is not going up and down. And that's ideal. She's such a good machine. This bobbin winder apparatus is going to move back and forth. Let's see if it's working properly. Can you make sure it's focused right on there?
Yeah, it's right on there.
Okay. Isn't that cool? This heart mechanism, the engineering is amazing. Whoops, she came out of the thread loop over here, so I'm going to go ahead and stop her. She does smell a little bit hot. I have not taken her apart and oiled her as I should before I work her. And so the sewing machine manual tells you everywhere to oil her. I recommend Blue Creeper oil or Tri-Flow oil. And there's several places to oil, and it tells you each one. You're going to oil in here. There's a little flap back here you oil behind. You take off the front and you oil all up and down the needle bar. Some of them, this one doesn't have a hole in the base. Some of them do. You oil under here. There's 5 or 6 places. Look how clean she is. Not a speck of rust. No rust anywhere on this machine. That's one thing we're really lucky about in Colorado. Our machines get dirty, very dirty and dusty, and the oil can dry out, and you have to kind of scrape it off with, some oil and some toothpicks or whatever to get that oil off. But we don't have rust here. She was kept in a garage for many years, and she was really dirty when we got her, but not a speck of rust anywhere on her. You have to have moisture in order for rust to happen. We don't really have moisture here. Okay, so we're going to put the clutch back in. We're going to thread her up. And then we're going to, remember, you always want your presser foot up when you're threading so that the tension discs are, this one threads, unlike modern machines, left to right. And
Big old melons in the way.
Sorry. You can, they all know how to thread a needle. You can buy the light fixture for this machine. I already checked before I filmed this. She does not have lights on her, but she's set up to take lights. This right here says light, okay? So you can buy that for $18.99. Very few things on these old machines are expensive. A brand new motor, $48, okay? A new belt and a new bobbin tire, $4. It's just not super expensive. If you buy one that is missing one of these plates, this is a black side plate, by the way. She's also got a black side presser foot and a black side turnkey thumb knob here, which they used during, I think, World War II, because they couldn't, the regular metal that they used was not accessible or something. I'm not sure.
Building tanks and weapons.
Yeah, they were building tanks and weapons and stuff. And so this, whatever this is, and so at some point in her life, either someone switched, because you used to be able to get a machine with all black side parts on it. Someone switched her out with one of her sisters, or this piece got lost at some point and someone replaced it. And so, because everything else is not black side except for those three parts. Now, this is a vibrating shuttle machine. This is her bobbin case. Kind of crazy, huh? And to thread her, you have the thread coming off of the bobbin facing you. You hold, let me get it figured out here. Hold the bobbin case with the screw facing you, put the bobbin in. Now you're going to put your finger up here so that the bobbin can't spin. So I'm holding the bobbin in place. I'm going to draw the thread down here, and then, whoopsie, let's try that again.
Old thread.
Oh yeah, this is antique thread I'm using here. Who knows how long it's been on here. Drop her in. See, the thread already slid down into that hole. Hold on to it, and we'll try again. If we can't do it, then we're going to have to use different thread. Get it down under there and then pull up. Now it didn't catch. It's not going. And I know it works because I've done it a million times. Well, not a million, but while I was sewing, a lot of times, this thread won't work. Let's try this spool. This is a different one.
Is that the one you just did?
No, I just put that one there.
I mean the one you just went on with pink.
No, but that's old thread too.
Oh.
All right, so I've got it facing, coming off the spool, facing me, goes down in, and if I can't do it this time, then that just means I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Trying to remember what colors I sewed with.
That looks good.
This looks like newer thread. Bobbin thread's facing me. It's awfully curled though, so I don't think it's new. You pull straight down and then up. Straight down and then up. Is that right? I think that's right. She'll tell me when I put the bobbin case in there, won't she? When you put the bobbin case in, you put it in with the screw facing up, and she slides right into her little coffin. There we go. Her little shuttle spot, she slides right in there. This is kind of cool. This knob lifts the shuttle up so you can pull it out with a fingernail. Then you shut her door, but you got to leave enough room for the thread to come out. And then just like any machine, we're going to draw the thread up. Okay, it looks like maybe I did thread that bobbin case correctly. And I'm going to pull that thread up. Okay. Now these were very strong machines. This fabric here is one of the fabrics I made some pants out of on this machine. And you can see that I have folded it and folded it and folded it and stitched it and stitched it. And she will continue to stitch beautifully through many layers of fabric. Old machines generally like to have their needles buried, so that's a polite thing to do. And then let's see how she does. That's close to perfect, that stitch. Now, when you're working with old thread and two different threads, it's hard to get a perfect stitch. But that is darn near perfect. And she needs oil, which I'll do off camera. Do you see how she kind of hesitates? Do you see that? That's from the vibrating shuttle. That's just a thing that they do. It's just different. It's different to run. But this is home decorator fabric. And there's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. I think I'm sewing through 8 layers of home decorator fabric, and that stitch, you cannot see the pink on the bottom. You cannot see the red on the top. That's how beautifully these machines stitch. They are just impeccable. Okay, you can put the camera back on me. And let me talk about this girl a little bit. So this machine...
That's close.
Woo!
Got it zoomed right in on it. There you go.
This machine is ideal for quilters. There's not a quilter in the world who wouldn't love this machine. She will piece quilts together for another 100 years. And she will give you the best stitch you could ever ask for. Now, she does not have back stitch. So you're like, ooh, okay, you can't use her for garment construction. And of course she's a straight stitcher. She doesn't have zigzag. So can you make a bathing suit with her? Maybe not. Can you make a pair of leggings? Maybe not. But most of everything that you want to make, you can make with her. And you don't need to worry about back stitch. Consider that most of our seams in a garment are crossed again by another seam. And if they're not, like on a hem, I just make sure that I drive over my beginning stitches for an inch or so. Other ways that you can do this, that you can work around the back stitch, is you can drive your fabric through, leave the needle embedded, spin your piece, and then drive it through again. Essentially, you're making a back stitch. Another thing that some people do is pull it out, pull the bobbin thread to the bottom, and then tie a knot. I never did either of those methods. I just used her. I trusted the strength of her stitch, and all 5 garments that I have made using this machine have held up without any problems whatsoever. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you about her. I'm going to put her on Facebook Marketplace. She's not one that I'm just going to take down to the thrift store and pass off. I'm going to ask $100. The reason why I might get $100 for her is because whoever buys her will know that she works. I will have her clean and I will have her oiled, and they can sit down and actually sew with it and see themselves that she's a good machine and ready to go for anyone, beginner or expert. And so I think that's it, the Singer 127-3. If you have any specific questions, please let me know and I will answer them below. I'm going to try to do a video like this for all of the machines that I'm getting rid of. Some I'm just going to pass on for free. Some I'm going to sell. And I'm not doing this video to sell you the machine because I'm not packing her up. Unless you can come to my house, or unless you want to pay some outrageous amount, then I might pack her up. But she'd probably cost $50 to $75 to ship because of her weight. How much do you think she weighs? 25?
25 or 30 pounds.
25 or 30 pounds, yeah. So I just want to show you my vintage machines so you can look forward to more of these videos. Okay, I think I covered everything. Oh, one more thing I didn't cover. Can you put it to this knob here? Now, she was made in 1910, so she's 109 years old. This is the stitch length knob. You just turn it, and then you sew, and you look at your stitch, and, you know, right makes it smaller, left makes it bigger, and that's how that works. There's no numbers telling you. You just have to do it yourself. That's the one thing that's a tiny bit of a pain with garment construction, because if you need to baste, that means you've got to, unwind her and make the stitches big, and then if you want to go back to your other stitching, you've got to move her around. But truly, that is the only inconvenient thing I can think of for sewing with this machine. And then, finally, just the sound of her. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to run her, and Troy's going to kind of scoot in, and you're just going to be able to hear her go. Such a pleasure to sew with. Let's take this out so she doesn't get all bollocksed up. Is that not lovely? Focus in on this so they can see how fast she goes. There she is. Take care, guys. Oh, I should have that down.
Is it?
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.